getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn, so there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good evening and welcome to the Hot Chicken 125 presented by JPB Broadcasting. This is the BSC Season 9 Round 3 and tonight's race will be sponsored by Killer Brownie Company as well. So please go and check them out. The link is down in the description below. If you have any troubles finding it, you can go and check them out and see all that they do, and one that will be absolutely amazing, and get yourself some wonderful brownies there as well. So thank you very much for them for sponsoring this event. But we are here at Nashville. Well, let's bring in the man with all the knowledge who's joining me here this evening, Mr. Kenton Sportak. Good evening, Kenton. How are you?
Doing well. All healthy, sunny outside. It's good to go.
Happy days as well. Welcome in Codfiend 5669 Pepto. Just put, that would be our very own Sawyer Gara, who is currently, I can't see here at the moment. So no Sawyer at the moment here this evening as well. We've got 125 laps for you. We've got a stage break at 40. We got 3 green and white checkers to run under as well. Okay, so last week, right, was interesting.
A cautious tale.
Oh, I like that. It was a very cautious tale, wasn't it? It was a tough one to deal with. I think we ended up with 14 cautions by the end of it. You know, I know that they've all had a meeting on Thursday and all the drivers were told that they needed to join the meeting. And we have hoped that this one would be a little bit not caution-free, but a little bit more friendly, shall we say, with predictions being under 10 cautions. What do you think the difference is here between Nashville and last week at Michigan?
It's going to be hard for me to agree that necessarily it'll be under 10. I think last year, from what I can remember, we had around 7. But I think the biggest thing with this track is because you have to take more caution in the corners. When we were over in Michigan, it was a little bit of lift. You were still sticking around that 80% going through corners, things like that. With this track, it being, I believe it's 1.333 miles, yeah, so 2.145 kilometers. It is a little tighter. The corners are a little bit more reliant on being feathering the throttle and the brake. You can't just ride in, lift off a little bit and keep going and be fine. You actually do need to brake a little bit going into the corner. And then at points, you actually have to even just completely let the car roll through both the mid part before you get on the throttle to exit the corner. With this track as well, it is going to come down to how well they deal with, there's like a little bit of a bump coming out of turn 4, about where you want to start getting the throttle on. And if you hit that, it can get you a little squirrely and cause you to kind of spin a little bit or run the risk of just missing the entrance altogether the exit altogether and introducing yourself to the wall. And you can kind of see it coming up. I believe it's about there. And that one, if you hit that, it while you're trying to get onto the throttle or as the car is starting to go, it can definitely send that back end around because you're just not going to have the grip and the ground contact of the 4 tires the same. Weight distribution will be a little off, can send you all the way around. So it will rely on people just kind of being a little bit more cautious coming out of turn 4. It's not an issue coming out of turn 2, which is nice. And then, similar ideas. You have to get into turn 1 a little a little more cautiously, a little early. You have to be on the brake, whereas in turn 3, you can actually get in a little bit deeper. You don't have to turn quite as early, and you can kind of make the corner a little more aggressively. So a few kind of things that will make this track very different from Michigan, but it's all going to come down to, again, how the drivers decide to more or less drive this one today.
Yeah, well, we've got 24 cars on track. We haven't got as many as the 33, I think it was, we had last week either. Terry Spainhour Senior, welcome in to you. Let's go Spainhour in the Kelly Office Solutions car. Have a great race, son. Well, he's currently in practice and he's currently in 14th at the moment as well. So he will be, I'm sure, trying to make his way through the field. What are we predicting lines? Are we predicting columns of 2, columns of 3? What do we think is going to happen? Because obviously you can see, you know, the parts itself where they go kind of into the corner. They've got a little bit more room. They can run, you know, I'm not saying they're going to run 5 wide, but they kind of can if they really want to. And then it comes onto the straight, narrows back down to 4 again, goes back out to 5 again. On the corner again, are we expecting them to run any other line apart from the middle? Are we expecting 2 lines of 2? What do you think the situation is going to be?
With this track, for the most part, unless you're trying to pass or trying to make a move of any kind, like maybe trying to defend a little bit, you're going to try and be a single file. It's not the fastest of tracks in that if you do decide to go out wide on some of these corners, you're not going to gain as much speed as you would hope. You're going to scrub a lot because just the way the diameters of the banking on this track, it's not super high. In your turns, you're looking at about 14 degrees. On the front stretch, it's 9. The back stretch is 6. So it is a fairly flat track. And if you're going out wide, unlike with Michigan, where it is a lot more banked, or places like Daytona where they're really high banking, and you can really carry that speed. Going into these corners up high, you're going to be having to brake a lot more, and you're going to have to get on the throttle a little bit late and kind of really push that way. So single file, unless you're on the straightaways and trying to make a move, is probably going to be the better option. Trying to go around on the outside is going to be a little dicier. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. Is that your face on this car again?
Where?
On Calvin Ross? Is that your face right there that I'm seeing?
No.
Are we sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm looking at a Kelly Brownie.
Oh, weird. On my screen, it shows something different. Okay, I see your face. That's why I was like, what is happening here?
No.
Maybe I have to update my my trading page because I was thinking, what is happening? But yeah, so it's single file is going to be definitely the better way to go here.
Yeah. Well, I've just had some little bit of information. Fuel run is around 40 laps. So there you go. Hopefully they might get a full green fuel run. If we can at one point, that would be ideal. But optimistic, I think. Optimism is a wonderful thing. Go TJ. Welcome in, Lydia. Hope you're having a fabulous time. And you're all good and enjoying your Tuesday. So there you go. I know I've enjoyed mine. That's partly because I've been spending most of the afternoon sitting in a hot tub. I was enjoying the hot weather that we have finally got over here in the UK. It doesn't last for very long. You know what I mean? It's just more of a few days of summer and a whole lot of winter. But while we've got it, I'm going to go out and enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. But we are into qualifying. We've got 5 minutes of qualifying. The guys will probably do about 2 laps, get our best time on the board, and then we'll be able to find out who is where in the grid and how they're going to deal with this. It's really tough because no matter how optimistic we can be some weeks with regards to race circuits and things like that, there are always entities that happen. So what do we think here? If a car, for instance, down in 20th, right? Do we think that car has a possibility of being able to take the win, or do we think that there's a lot more less hope? Because obviously on some circuits we see, no, you don't want to be doing this. There we go.
Yeah, that's...
Don't do that, basically.
If you're driving like that from 20th, no, you're not making it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Are we looking at the fact that anybody can still take it from that far down? Do we think is possible? What, how do we think this is going to work out? Because it's been a bit of a rough opening to the season. Seen 14 cautions last week. There was 12 the week before, 26 cautions in the whole two races. What's the situation here? Is it easier to make mistakes here than it would be anywhere else? Is it easier to slide yourself out? Obviously, we've just seen Ryan McClellan do the same thing here in qualifying. I'm a little bit worried that if these racetracks are bringing these entities and these problems for the drivers, how are they going to handle it? Because at the end of the day, I'm sure they didn't enjoy last week any more than us. We were quite lucky. We were up in the booth. We could chat to the guys in YouTube chat. We can have a bit of a giggle between us and waffle on. But they haven't got that. They've got to try and maintain their mental focus. And it's going to be tough when you've got caution after caution after caution.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot harder. And I mean, you would expect, like, Daytona is always kind of a hit or miss track when it comes to cautions, with how fast it is and with the fact that you're pretty much never lifting, and you're just all out. Something can happen and that can trigger a lot of problems very quickly. With Michigan, it's a little less likely, but it is still a super speedway. It's still that long track. And then you places like this, it's not as common to get those kind of big pile-ups and things like that, because it will get spread out just due to how the track is and how you have to drive it and what racing line you need to follow. But yeah, so I'm hoping we're not having to deal with it nearly as much, and I'm hoping the drivers don't have to deal with it nearly as much, but it is going to all come down to, kind of, again, patience. Your first 10, 20, your first stint even if we go green for the first 40, it's not going to dictate who wins. It's all going to come down to, that last bit and what position you're in. And if it ends up being caution filled, then it gives everybody lots of time to make up any places they lose, or if they overshoot their pit box, as we just saw there. But it gives everyone kind of that ability. So they just have to really focus on keeping it clean, and it makes it a lot easier if you are trying to make it up. Because I know they do have one fast repair, but you don't want to be using that in the first 20 laps. You'd much rather have to utilize it if you have to utilize it later on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing when they're sitting here with 125 laps in front of them. The last thing they want to be doing is having 14 cautions, because that's just not ideal for anyone. But we're hoping it isn't that fueled this evening here as well. We've got the return of Jordan Malcolm, last season's champion, of course, is here for the first time this season. It's 2 rounds already. We'll have to see how Jordan gets on. He's not doing too well at the moment. He's down in 18th on his qualifying time. Here, as we can see, Brandon McLaughlin in the Ford, and that is the end of that one. So qualifying has come to an end. And now we'll be able to bring you up the grid for this race. The Nashville Hot Chicken 125. And the grid is Dan Michael out in front, Dominic Bettini in second, Andrew J. Marlin in third, Hunter Carlson fourth, Noel Jackowitz fifth, Rodney Roberts sixth, Andrew Onquist seventh, Derek Runge eighth, Cody Kern ninth, Devon Collicott 10th, Brian McLaughlin 11th, and Anthony Radel is your top 12. DJ Spainhour 13th, Calvin Ross 14th, Rob Sizemore 15th, Seth Pegg 16th, Joshua Kern 17th, Jordan Malcolm 18th, Thomas Kuhn 19th, Ryan McClelland is in 20, Keenan Kimber 21, Grace Sherman 22, Daniel Jones in 23rd, and Chi Kuba down in 24th. And then beyond that, you've got Yogi Shishala, who is in 25th place. So, predictions. Young sir, who do you think could take the victory here this evening?
I'm going to go with Dan Michael. He knows this track pretty well. He had a pretty good race last year. And it just dawned on to me what happened at this race last year. This was the infamous Dan Michael incident with Jamie McQuiggan?
Joshua McQuiggan.
Josh McQuiggan, that's what it was. Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm having a day apparently. But yeah, so it was that incident. So now that I remember that, he had a fantastic race here, and I mean, yeah, if he's able to avoid any possible incidences like that last year or last season, I think he'll have himself a fantastic day.
Right, I'm going to go out the box, right? And for me, I'm going to go with Noel.
Ooh, Jackowitz?
Oh, yeah, or Noel. That's what my Jackowitz. That's where I'm going. I'm going there. Starting from the back to stay alive, I see the strategy, says Soundsync 5000, who I'm sure must be a driver, but it would be ideal if you could tell me who that is. I do love this with drivers popping in the time second, and I have no idea who they are, partly because the name doesn't match up with general names. So, you know, you can let me know who you are. That would be absolutely amazing. Obviously, if you're driving,
No. She was. Oh,
she was
what was her other? I can't remember.
Wasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what she was, but she wasn't. So let me know who that is. Who's at the back of the field? Yogi Shishela, Greg Sherman, Daniel Jones, Chikuba. So it could be any one of them. Right, let's go. Let's get this underway. Let's get this party started, as Pink says here on board with Barney, the flag man. Into the Geico restart, so we go, and it's Dominic Bettini and Dan Michael leading the front here with everybody else tucked up right behind him. We're still currently 2 wide with 2 lots of columns underway. Brandon McClellan has made a move past Devon Collicott as well. Hunter Carlson's down 2. Cody Kern is up 2. Is another man on a bit of a mission currently at the moment as well, as he's making positions gained here once more right at the beginning. We are literally everybody apart from 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd and 24th, or 23rd, sorry, have swapped positions. Everybody else has not. There is TJ there as well. He is currently in 12th place, up 1 in front of Anthony Rader once more. I think this is what we were talking about, right? This is where we were looking at the situation. Single line, you said to me. It's going to be a single file race. Going to be a single file race, and yeah, we see jigsaw pieces on the table once more.
Oh yeah, and I mean you're in the first couple laps here, and it's going to filter itself out, and you can already see the front sort of grouping is started. It was in single file going into the corners and stuff like that. And you can even see if you look behind. So I believe that's Bettini there. I think that was him. Yeah, so Bettini there. Him and Noel are fighting it out there, and Noel has a better line coming out of that corner because he's not having to scrub as much speed. And then they kind of fill in, and it looks like he's also made a couple of contacts with the wall there. That was a real close for Spainhour and Radel there. But yeah, like you can already see it starting to filter out as guys are starting to kind of find their space, and unless they're trying to make a move, you're really wanting to be in that line. It's going to give you the draft, which is detrimental as it would be at a place like Daytona or Talladega or things like that. But at the same time, it still is a help, and you can see it coming in. Like it's a lot more of a straight line with the odd guy kind of out and about and trying to find a space and trying to make some space.
Kuba, no, put Chi onto the grass there. It was, unfortunately, Chi was on the grass, and that was actually Kuba. She did not attempt. I've seen her do that when the field in front might get a little bit too crazy. Well, it definitely has, but unfortunately she couldn't help herself by going onto the grass there. Dan Michael out in front is absolutely flying. He's got all of a sudden the second gap. Is there a time on this field where we're going to lose the draft, or do we think within a second and a half we're always going to catch something?
You'll still get it on the back straight, but if you're outside of that 1 second, even 1.3 seconds there, you're going to start losing it just because it's so short. Obviously, it's not a short track in that sense, but you're still going to miss out on a good chunk of the draft when you're turning as it is. So the fact that he's able to open so much of a gap and he's been holding it just tells me that, yeah, it's going to be a little harder. he needs to, or for Noel there, he needs to almost work with Andrew, I believe it is, behind him. Work to start making some space up on that and making a little bit of time back. But right now, they're a little too far apart for that to really work, and Daniel Michael's taking advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, so, Rodney Roberts is taking the inside away from car number 32. That's Hunter Carlson. Unfortunately for Carlson, he's got down 2 positions currently at the moment there as well, being chased down now by Devon Collicott right behind him currently at this moment in time here. And let's have a look and see. That is what we are talking about. This is where this bump is kicking in here. It's just about there.
There it is.
There it is. As it pops up the car, and you can see here from Collicott, could not get on the power. How much of a challenge is that going to be? You know, is that where we're thinking that these drivers might have to wait a little bit longer before they put the power down? You know, because at the end of the day, you want to be on the power as much as possible, right? You don't want to be lifting, you don't want to be braking if you can really help it. Obviously, you know, we know it's already said that they were going to have to here at the end of the day, but how much is that having that bump there going to affect what they're going to do? Because surely they don't want to be getting on the gas too early, because otherwise that bump's going to take them right out.
Yeah, and it definitely plays a big factor because you can't quite get on the throttle as necessarily as soon as you'd want to. Because if you hit that bump in the middle of trying to throttle up, it can, again, it'll disrupt where the weight is. And if you suddenly are trying to accelerate, but the back end of the car lifts, well, the tires aren't going to have the same weight. They're going to lose a lot of that grip. It's not the same as your tire on your car on the road when it still has some tread. There's slicks. There's no tread on these things. So if you lose any of that grip, it's going to be a lot harder. The biggest thing that they'll have to kind of work through is making sure that even if they do hit it, they're not, trying to put down too much throttle at once and it, causing them to spin. For the most part for racing, like if they're just doing their laps kind of thing, sitting in their position, not really trying to make a move, it shouldn't play too much of a factor. It's once they start trying to make moves or get along the throttle that little second early just to get a better exit compared to the car on their outside. That's when you can kind of start seeing it sort of rear its ugly head and kind of cause some problems there.
Yeah, definitely can here as well. But some of the gainers you got, Brandon McLaughlin is up 3, Devon Collicott up 3, Noel Jakowitz up 3 as well. He's now got that gap down below a second. TJ's making a move. Jordan Malcolm's just going to sweep around the outside. Anthony Radel is also going to try and have a go as well. If I was TJ, I would follow Jordan Malcolm. He's a champion for a reason. Not going to lie, probably give him a follow and see what sort of line he's taking here and making sure that you're probably trying to stay within that line. Yogi Shishela and also Thomas Kuhn in front of them. These guys are further down the order in 22nd and 23rd. Rob Sizemore, Calvin Ross are side by side currently at the moment here as they're going into turn 3, coming out of the exit. And once more, they have all made it through cleanly, and I'm impressed. We are 14 laps in and no caution.
Knock on wood.
Yes.
Yeah. As we now blame James when the next one comes out.
Hold on a minute, right? If it was straight away, then blame me. But if it's 5 or 6 or 7 laps, you can't tuck me up for that one. You know what I mean? That's
fair.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not fair. If they go another 5 laps and they haven't had a caution, that's it. My curse is all finished. All right?
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, good. I'm glad about that.
A good thing.
Yeah, tucking me up for that one. 10 laps later, you'll be like, James did that. It was his fault. But hold on a minute.
Yep.
You can see them just rushing through here. This is such an interesting circuit in his makeup, isn't it? It's one of these fabulous D-shaped ovals that we come used to. Now, my perception of a super speedway is just full flat. Go for it. Do you know what I mean? Full flat. Don't worry about brakes. Don't worry about anything. See what you can do. But we're not blessed with that here, are we? We're not got that ability.
Yeah, and it's very interesting in a lot of ways, because typically when they say a super speedway, they're in reference to, those longer, full-on, high-speed tracks, and not so much the little bit shorter ones. I know they have a sort of a very loose description of what the actual difference is. So I find it very odd that they refer to Nashville as a super speedway, because if I remember correctly, and I think this is what it is that a super speedway has to be over 2 miles. So the fact that they call Nashville a super speedway, I think is weird, because it's not even 2.5 miles, or it's not even 1.5 miles. Like, it's under 1.5 miles. So I don't get. I'm not really sure on that one, but that is like their sort of break, I guess, is that your super speedway is 2 miles. So it's they're the higher speed. They're a little bit wider, other than Daytona, things like that. So it's kind of interesting. And then obviously they always have to rely on restrictor plates on some of these races, on those super speedways and things like that. So I'm not really sure why Nashville gets to say it's a super speedway.
Yeah, because if it's 2 miles, this is what 1.3333 recurring, give or take.
Yep.
You know, track surface is concrete, as you say, the banking and everything else within that, 14 degrees in turns, 9 degrees front, 6 degrees back. You know, it doesn't remind me of a typical super speedway. And I think one of the things that doesn't do it for me is the fact that it come out, and I was reading this week, and it's like only got a permanent seating area for 25,000 fans. Now, am I guessing by that as we look at, say, for instance, this kind of permanent view here, that most of the fans are going to be in the inside, or are we all going to be stood on the bank in here? Because at the end of the day, it's not a track that I would associate as a full-on super speedway. It's a full-on go-for-it track over 2 miles, and this just isn't it. Devon Collicott and Hunter Carlson running side by side, coming in through the D-shape into turn one they go. But it doesn't give me that perception that it is that. Do you know what I mean? It just seems a little bit weird calling it that when, as we know, clearly it's not.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure why it's like that.
Okay.
And it like why they call it a super speedway. Like, it makes no sense. In reality, yes, a lot of the fans will be on the infield. And I think it was for NASCAR, the Cup car coming back in 2021, they actually did increase the amount of permanent seating that is available. I think it's where, it's about 38,000 that they can fit in permanently. That was updated recently. Like, it's fairly new. And then I think they can expand it up to 150,000 depending on what event is going on. So it all kind of depends on what they're doing. I don't think at NASCAR they typically have that many. That seems like a lot. But so it's a very interesting track. They say they originally, when it first kind of started, but that was back in the 80s, they could only fit 50,000 people total for these events, which wasn't deemed enough, basically. It's one of those weird kind of things. But everything I've seen, though, in regards to calling it a super speedway is just because they did. That seems to be their reasoning behind it. So, other than that, like, I think it was sort of to separate it from the other track in Nashville, because there's the Fairgrounds Speedway.
That's what I was going to say. I've just had some information sent through from my pit lane roving reporter, Mr. Armour Brusso. It's called Super Speedway, so people won't confuse it for Nashville Fairgrounds.
Because it's the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. So if you had Nashville Speedway and Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, it could throw a lot of people off. So I think that might be the only reason that they can get away with it compared to, because even funny enough, it's actually owned by, I believe, the Speedway Motors too.
Speedway Motorsport LLC. They also own Atlanta, Bristol, Charlotte, Dover, Kentucky, Las Vegas, New Hampshire, Sonoma, and Texas Motor Speedway. So they own quite a few, and obviously this one we're on currently at the moment as well, as we see Hunter Carlson go up the inside of Jamal, and Jamal must have issues there as well, because he's down 4 currently at the moment. Last lap time out, he's knocking on a 31, and he's knocking on the door of a 31 here. Well, Hunter Carlson is knocking on late 30s. So he must be looking at some form because he just tapped the wall again there as well. And Andrew here just going to have to be a little bit more careful, I think, if that's the problem with his tyres or that's the situation. Sizemore and Radel still going at it further down. Sherman up 5. Huber up 1 now. Seth Pegg is down 8. I'm not entirely sure what is wrong with Seth. Not sure if he's loving that. Now, Brandon McLaughlin has been off track. It didn't register as a yellow. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite glad about that one. But Dan Michael is under attack from Noel Jakowitz here. I think it is Noel, you know. I've been calling him Noel, and he's never corrected me since. But I think the fact it's no L could be Noel, right?
Could be, yeah. We'll have to ask him. We'll see how this the race goes, and we'll give him a nice little chat after.
Well,
at the stage break.
Stage in 12. So we never know. We might make the stage. If we make the stage, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send them all donuts because that would be amazing. And I don't mean spinning on the side of the track. Brandon McLaughlin is the first one to blink. He is currently just headed down pit lane currently here. Jakowitz and Michael doing 30.7s and 30.8s respectively. Jakowitz trying to look up the inside of Michael there, and he's got the job done and dusted for him. Is he going to be able to just hold it? They're going to be running side by side round the D part of the oval. Across the start-finish line they go. And Jakowitz has still got that inside line ready to go into turn 1. He's looking like he's driving that bottom line rather than the middle where we're seeing Michael currently at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, coming out of the corner and having to stay low, obviously, you can't quite get on the throttle as much as you would be able to if you're a little higher, because you can't go all the way to the wall. So it's kind of it's harder to stay in the corner when you're up higher because you're losing a little bit of speed, but you can utilize the throttle just a touch more because you're going all the way to the wall, whereas if you're on the inside, you're able to kind of get on the throttle a little bit more, but you have to be a lot more careful because you can't go up nearly as high. So you can't go full throttle quite as quickly. So this is an interesting little duel between the two of them. I mean, we've seen these guys last season both drive really, really, really well. Dan Michael, who kind of was quietly winning races and stuff, and obviously most of the conversations were about Alex Witt, who is not here today, but he was always having those big races and winning by lots. And then Noel, we did talk about him in a little bit of a different light to start the season compared to the later on, and his controlled aggressiveness that he had early on in the season.
Well, that's definitely one way of putting it. I think we were both shocked about the amount of aggression I think that Noel currently had when at the beginning of the season, because I think for us this was obviously the first time of broadcasting a league, so we didn't know the drivers, we didn't know the situation, and then all of a sudden you've got this number 7, Noel Hanna as he was back then as well, and then all of a sudden he's just aggressive like a bear driving through the grid, and we're just like, oh man, this is like, what is going on? But he seems, as the season went on, he did get more control of what he was doing. Michael unfortunately missed out on one of the playoff spots last season. And I think that was because he missed one of the playoff races, didn't he, initially? And unfortunately couldn't, get to his rig or whatever the situation was he had in front of him. But, I think this season alone, with the fact that we've got the likes of Roberts, Collicott, Bettini, Carlson, Runge, they're all in the mix. We can't sit here and say at the moment, this is going to be the champion, that's going to be the champion, he's going to be the champion, because at the moment, we're 3 rounds in, there isn't really anyone outstanding and flying along, rocketing out in front at the moment. I think, if we looked at currently the scores, which we will bring up when we get to the stage break, but even the scores don't bring you that perception that you're going to see a massive runaway winner. Strada is out in front at the moment. He's currently the one on 84 points with Vasquez, who's not here. Jakowitz is here on 72. Xander Short's not here. So there's a few drivers missing, but there could also be a lot more drivers involved when we get into that playoff places, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you just got to look at how last year went. I don't think any of us were going to call at the beginning of the year or even halfway through the season that Jordan Malcolm was going to come out of nowhere and win the entire thing. And he had a phenomenal second half of the season. And I mean, if you stay in contact and then have some good races here and there, and I'm not going to say necessarily he got lucky at any point. Like he did earn his win by every kind of way you want to look at it. But it's still, you got to have some luck. What's the saying? You got to be good to be lucky, but lucky to be good. And he kind of was able to make that happen. And it just went to show that it's never set. Like, there are so many ways that things can change. Like we said, we had Dan Michael and Josh McQuiggan were both fighting to make it into the final four for the final race, and both of them needed to win, and neither managed to get the win. And it ended up being, I think it was Noel Jackowitz, and I can't remember who the other one was on that. Now that I think about it, and Alex Witten, and Radel, that's right, Radel and Malcolm. And it ended up being kind of outside of Alex Witt, we didn't necessarily have really any of them like, oh, they're 100%, that's the top four we're thinking are going to make it at, race 4, race 5. Like, maybe Alex, but that would have been about it. And there's been really no one this year that's taken on that's pulled a Max Verstappen and kind of just gone out and it's theirs. That there's no question kind of thing. So it's been it's a little more, I don't want to say competitive, but a little closer in competition.
Yeah, that's true.
As we can see, Noel starting to catch up to the backpack of the field here. I think that's Spainhour right in front of him here. Yeah.
It's not had a good start as old TJ. I'm not going to lie. He's down 9 positions, Billy. I'm sorry, you've just jumped in. I'm here. How is TJ doing? Well,
first
stage break.
Oh, stage break. See, guys, I told you. First one's going to be James's fault.
15 laps after.
Yeah.
Stage break.
The stage breaks a planned one.
Yeah, and that win went to Noel. With Michael in second. So Noel will get the 10 points. Michael obviously 9. Roberts, the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. I wonder if we can have a quick chat with Noel before he's obviously comes to the end when my computer wants to do what it's supposed to be doing. That's always good. Right, give them a minute. I don't know if anybody's calmed down just yet. Have they? They still look like they're racing to me, or is that just my eyes?
Oh yeah, they just had to catch up to the pace car.
Yeah, right. Let's bring in Mr. Noel into the booth. We'll give him a second to make him realise that he's in there. I'll drop him into the waiting room here first, and then we'll bring Noel into the booth. Noel, how are you?
Pretty good, I'd say.
Stage win, first place, looking comfortable. What's the story?
Tire wear is definitely the story. We knew if we can get a good long tire run, we'd be pretty strong. I've said it in the weeks past too. That's what I'm looking for. The long green runs. It's good for broadcast. It's good for racing, and it's good for tires.
Definitely is at the moment. Are we looking at a full 4 swap, or what's the situation with your tires?
Yeah, let's see. We're doing pretty well there. I think Dan, I just had to wait him out and hope that I could kind of do a little better saving than he did. And I think it was still pretty close. We'll see how the longer runs go with the longer laps here. And hopefully we can keep up with these green runs.
Yeah, well, please do. I've got you down as my winner. Okay.
All right. I'll try it.
Yeah.
Going for it.
Yeah, you go for it, because Kenton's got Dan, and we can't have that, right, mate? You know what I mean? We can't have that one. So, yeah, please go for it. That would make me extremely happy. Good luck in the second half. Hopefully we'll keep up with another 40-lap green run. That would be ideal. And I look forward to possibly having a chat with you later on, mate.
Yeah, same here.
Take care. Right. So, I think with the way that Noah was talking there, I've got a funny feeling his car is set up for longer runs here. He looks a lot more comfortable. Did save tyres, as he said, with Dan. Dan kind of got in and out of the pits before him, basically about a 4/10 gap on their pit lane times. But if Noel's car is set up, the last thing he wants is a run of caution, because that's going to drive his car crazy by the sounds of it. And I think he's more set up for definitely a longer run than what I probably, to be honest with us, we were all expecting here, because we wasn't quite expecting to get to the stage break on 40.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of seemed like he got stronger as the run went. I mean, we saw Dan Michael went out and opened up, over a second in about 5 laps, and he had his, the big lead and everything like that. And it seemed kind of like he was either trying to nurse the tires after the fact, whereas Noel was just kind of doing his own thing, and through that was able to kind of keep the tires in a good range and not overwork them per se. I do know that this track is not the friendliest to your front right, just because of how it's designed, with that slightly less banking and things like that. So you are actually dragging that front right pretty hard if you're over throttling coming out of the corners, and even if you're not braking quite enough going into the corners, it can put a lot of strain on that front right. So you definitely have to be a little more careful with it. But if you're able to really sort of milk it and allow the race to come to you more so than trying to push the race, you can at least make those tires last a little bit longer. And it kind of seemed that that's what Noel did throughout that entire first run. Yeah,
absolutely. I think for Dan's point of view, he needs to kind of go into the second part of this now and realize what he's learning from the first part. And obviously, clearly, the one of the things he's got to be looking at is the fact that he needs to obviously save more tires than what he probably did, because, as you say, the longer it went on, Noel just got quicker and quicker and quicker, and at the stage break, he was over a second and a half ahead of Dan behind him. So he's clearly set up for longer runs, which is great for us. He's clearly hoping that there's going to be more longer runs. I think that, we are reduced down to 25 drivers. I'm not saying that that's the initial reason, but obviously it does lower the ipso facto of the fact that we haven't got a bigger field, which is helping with the racing that we've got currently here at the moment. I love the stage break, because this is going to bring everybody back into play. I think it's still wide open. I think this still could be anybody's race. And I think, again, it could be one or another, but we are going to go into the Geico restart zone once more here for the lap of 45. After the stage break we go, and we are underway with Michael out in front currently here as well, doing his job and doing what he needs to be doing and getting away right at the beginning. Jackowitz! Oh! Rodney Roberts just lost a nose, and he's in the plastic surgeon's table. I'll tell you that much. Jackowitz took that nose right off. There's going to be a caution, I think, somewhere. Jamalin's in the wall. Kimber's off as well.
Jamalin's going to be very hopeful or happy that he does have that fast repair, and there hasn't been any reason for him to get it, because he's got a lot of damage on that front end, and he's going to need to get in real quick. Although it doesn't look like a caution got called.
No, it didn't.
Oddly enough.
It did not get called. I'm trying to see where it might have happened. Yeah, I'm trying to see where it might have happened there to Marlin. Unfortunately. Whoa.
I think he hit that bump. Or, no, that's on the back straight. I don't know what. Oh, he just got loose.
Yeah, but that was a big old snap there for Jamalin.
Yeah, that's a thank goodness for fast repairs, because that's a lot of damage he took. And yeah, he is in for a fast repair and hopefully out fairly quickly and won't lose too much time for himself. But that was a solid smack. Not really one you want to see.
No, it definitely was a hit there. Bettini trying to have a go at Collicott. Almquist trying to come through as well here this evening. And Almquist currently in 7th place. Let's go, Dan, says Akira. Dan is out in front at the moment with Jackowitz tucked up right behind him. Our favourite prodigal son, Mr. Spainhour, is having a bit of a rough one here. I'm a little bit concerned for TJ. He's down in currently 22nd place, dropped 9 places and losing time to 21 of Yogi Shishela in front of him and Cheek Uber. They've just swapped positions as well. Cheek's just let, in a weird way, look like she let Shishela through, and Shishela's gone out and on his way now. Michael's still battling here with Jackowitz, which I think could end up really having an infusing battle towards the end of this race. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be primarily looking at them two to basically go through. But at the end of the day, you know, the cautions haven't come out. We've had Kuba's been off, Jamalin's been off, we've had Shishella's been off, we've had Kimber's been off. Now, are we saying then within this iRacing model that we do love and hate all at the same time, that they're a bit more lenient on when cautions are going to be called on this one? Because if they're in the inside and they're on the grass, do we need a caution to get them out?
You don't. Typically with oval racing, it obviously being very different from road racing, if you get down onto the inside and if you're, for lack of a better term, smart about it, you're not just gonna like hard right-hand turn right back into the track. Typically, you want to make sure you get your car back under some form of control and can kind of gradually get on and hopefully on a straightaway. Obviously, if you try and come up on a corner, higher chance of you having problems, because going from the apron, which is typically about 3 degrees of banking or less, to suddenly 14 degrees, your car is not going to sit on that very well, and it's going to take kind of a weird hit and can definitely lose control if you're having any form of speed. So a key thing will be, just kind of being a little more cautious and coming up on a back straightaway or the front straight and trying to work through that way. But you don't necessarily need the caution unless there's a high risk of a car on the actual track itself causing problems. So the fact that they didn't call one out, even with Jamelin being all missing parts and on the track, is a little interesting. But for off tracks and stuff like that, that's not as shocking with oval racing.
All right, okay, well there you go, another insightful insight from Kenton up in the booth. I do love your insightfulness. It makes me go away from every broadcast a very smarter man than I was when I come into it, not gonna lie, here as well. So we have currently got Michael, Jakowitz, Orange, Roberts, Collicott, Bettini, Almquist, Ross, Kern and Kuhn in the end of the top 10. One of the players that we have got outside of that is Mr. Anthony Radel, who is battling away here with Rob Sizemore in front of him. This is down in 15th and 16th place currently at the moment, and they've got Thomas Kuhn behind them. We've got TJ battling away with Chico, but that's further down the order. And then, of course, we've got Calvin Ross having a go now on the inside. Well, that's Cody Kern on the inside of that, with Joshua coming up behind him as well. Oh, no. Ooh.
And see, he stayed low. Then that's how you want to rejoin if you go off.
Okay.
Which he did. That's what you want to do. He stayed low, stayed out of the way of all the other cars. And I mean, unfortunately, ideally, you don't go off at all and don't have to rejoin. But that is the one downside to trying going down the apron on the front stretch there in sort of that tri-oval area, is it kind of sucks you right towards the grass. And if you don't hit it right, it'll definitely throw you onto the grass. And we all know how iRacing's grass is more glass than grass, and it's basically got no grip whatsoever. So it's a little dicey to do, but it's definitely something you can.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. You know, the iRacing. Oh,
that looks like 20. Yeah. Just
got into it with the 4 car, which was Keenan Kimber. Okay.
I think it was just because he was basically stopped on the actual track in sort of the middle there, and that's gonna cause that flag to come out.
He was stopped. The caution I understand. What I don't get is the incident. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, because he should have fairly fresh tires. We're only about 16 laps out. They should be okay-ish.
Yeah, I don't get why he didn't go down the inside or around the outside.
I think maybe he just misjudged it, or I don't know. That'll be a look at for sure.
Watch his move. Okay,
his wheel is turned left.
Yeah,
his wheel is turned to the left, so I don't think it was intentional.
No, I'm not instantly presuming intentional, because obviously, you know, it's
No.
we don't go around cheering intentional incidents. But while we're doing this, I want to bring in our very own man, the roving reporter here, who's bringing all our little insight tidbits on the way round this evening as well. The man who gave me the information about the Superspeedway, Mr. Armin Brusso. Good evening, Armin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, boys?
I'm doing very well. We're 58 in, and really just got our first forced caution, should we say. Going well.
This is pretty much how last year went at Nashville. We had a green flag run to the stage, and then we finished with 6 cautions. So I hope we don't do that again, but so far so good. That was a very tame caution. That was definitely avoidable, but you know, it is what it is on that one.
Yeah, we definitely did say that up in the booth. It was definitely avoidable by Kimber there. Probably there was a lot of space on the inside, a lot of space on the outside to get round Seth. So it was possible. Now, one of the things I want to touch on, obviously, we've seen the opening 2 rounds. We've gone through the cautions. Driver meeting this week. They seem to have listened at the moment, which is ideal for us and ideal for you. You know, you don't have to go back in and read the riot act once more to the drivers as well. At the end of the day, nature of the tracks, maybe we're looking at possibly. I'm wondering, one of the things we've got different between the first 2 races and this race is the fact that we're sitting here with 25 drivers on track. Are the amount of cars playing in a different kind of mindset for people? Are we looking at a different kind of thing with the fact that there's only 25 on track and not another 8 taking us to 30 and above?
I think it's part of it. The less people you have, the less chances someone will do something stupid. So that's always helpful. I mean, how much does an extra 5 people change someone's mindset going into a race? I don't know, but I think it's helping. But I'm happy with the number up to around 25. But I definitely, some people messaged me and said they won't be able to make it this week, so I know at least that they have reasons to not be here. And then some people just didn't make the cut. But I think it's helping. We'll see when we won't be at an oval next race, so we won't really know until we get to Charlotte in like 3 weeks. But I think it helps.
Okay. What's the situation with you? We haven't seen you on track this season.
Someone's got to do this job. When things clean up and I don't need to sit here and babysit, I'll get on track. Believe me, I wish I could be on track, but after last week, it was proven that we really need someone to be pushing the button. So until we can clean it up, and I might be all race at Road America next week because we really don't need a race control for that. But until then, I'm going to be stuck in this booth. I wish I was on track with them, but
okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. Lights are off, so we will be going green very, very shortly. But Armin, take care, and we'll probably maybe chat to you later on.
Yep, thank you, and just remember, no race next week because of the 4th of July.
Absolutely. I put that down already. Take care, mate.
Thank you, too.
Well, there we go. So there you go. You heard it first. No race next week because of the 4th of July. Don't go messaging me, Mr. Sportak, asking me if there was a race because he's just told you there isn't. Right, once more into the Go restart zone. We'll pick up that conversation after this one, but we're going to be up and running once more. Dan Michael's going to lead us away. He's taken a jump already. He's had a go. He's off the line once more, and Dan Michael, he is out in front. Jackowitz being pushed along currently at the moment. I think that's Runge giving him a 48. That was actually Rodney Roberts trying to push him through there as well. Unfortunately, Jackowitz did not make it. He's going to get strung up on that outside line. He's dropped from 2nd down into what is potentially going to be 4th. It is 4th there, Kenton. And unfortunately for Jackowitz, did not quite get the start he needed off that on that opening of that second caution, of course. The first forced caution, should we say. But there we go. No race next week.
Sweet. I won't be messaging you at all anyways. I'll be in the bushes somewhere camping, so I won't be messaging anybody. Sweet. I'm excited about a little vacay with the fiance. So, but yeah, no, I mean, a little bit of a rough time for Jackowitz as he's now dropped down to 5th, but he is also playing a long game here. I don't think he's necessarily concerned about it. As we have said, we're not even halfway. Well, actually, we're just over halfway
Just
now.
about, yeah.
Just over halfway now. There's so much race left. There's at least one more full pit stop, if not, two, kind of depending on how this all plays out. There's a lot of time left. So if I'm anybody, I wouldn't really be super stressed. Maybe if you've been lapped and you need to make some time up, as we see Spaynower making a move on the inside here, getting past Thomas Kuhn as well.
Yep.
But outside of that, like, if you've been lapped and stuff, then sure, take a little bit of a look. But other than that, you've got lots of time left to make moves and kind of get yourself back into positions and things like that. I know it does look like might have lost Peg. I'm not sure if he's still driving around.
No, he is. He is driving around.
He is? Okay.
Yeah, it's still
Oh,
going.
there we go. Yep, there he is. But yeah, like it's one of those things where one more caution can change the entire outlook of this race very quickly, just based on getting a wave around or being the lucky dog, like things like that, where they allow you to go through again. So lots of time left. It's just keep your head down, keep your car pointed forwards, and preferably out of walls.
Yeah, definitely as well. Braden in YouTube chat, buddy just turned in for no reason. I don't know. As we say, that's not our call on that one. I do love to give my opinions, but I also don't want to end up in a steward booth. You heard who's in there, and it's Armand at the moment as well. So, I don't want to be told off for my opinions on incidents and accidents. However, I don't normally hold my tongue, so maybe I've changed man after sitting in my spa for about 3 hours. Probably the wrinkly fingers probably wrinkled my brain. I don't know. Not entirely sure. Sound sick? Noted. Yep. So no race next week, guys, as well. You heard it. Don't forget 4th of July. So I hope you all do have a wonderful 4th of July as well. I believe Christian Strider's not here now. I want to wish Christian good luck. Christian is currently flying. I believe he's either flying or he's getting on a junket tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. heading over to my neck of the woods. He is flying to London, which I'm going to presume he might come in on Heathrow, and he's flying over to me. So I'm up in London this weekend as well. So it's possible if we can tie up our schedules, then we might be having a little bit of a meet-up. I've got to go back to work. Good luck, TJ. Bye, Billy. I didn't realise Billy was at work. You're at work every Tuesday you watch this, Billy. That's an interesting fact there as well. So yeah, me and Mr. Strada might be having a meet-up next week. This weekend, actually, if we can just tie up our relevant schedules and see if we can get together. So that would be absolutely amazing to meet somebody from the BSC over here in London. I would say it's sunny London, but who knows what the weather's going to be, to be honest. But Jordan Malcolm there is being run around the outside from the 23 of Cody Kern. That was a brave boy run, wasn't it? Running around the outside there of turn 2 to get on the exit and then pass Jordan Malcolm on the outside against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it was a slick little move, and he did it perfectly and caused no issues, even better. It's the trifecta of a good move. You make it stick, don't cause any problems, and keep it out of the wall. Yeah,
happy days for them. Stunning job and well done to them guys as well here on track, because it can, by the looks of it, get very slippery. We talk about concrete, we talk about asphalt, we talk about, other forms of makeups of surfaces and stuff like that, but what are we really looking at with concrete? Now, I don't get me wrong, I know NASCAR don't run in the rain, not completely crazy, but oh dear. Oh no.
Blinked out.
The problem with that is she went in low. She went in low and unfortunately for Chi, drifted up into that car then. I think you can see from the perception of the way that she comes in underneath him. Goes in underneath and then just looks like she just drifts up into that 19 car of Thomas Kuhn, and unfortunately, well, you can see the result. You don't really need me to tell you what happened on that one. They both ended up in the wall. Do you think I've got that right?
Yeah, it looks like, she went to make the move on the inside there, and either the tire grip just is a little lacking, and it caused her to kind of drift a little more than she expected to, and unfortunately it looked like Kuhn just had not really much of a choice. There was lots of space down on her inside that she could have still utilized. I think she just got a little loose, just with the tires being a little older. I think we're on lap 72. I believe before this she had pitted at the stage break, as most people are going to also come in now, as it's been almost a full 30 laps there. So not too bad for tire wear, but at this point you're starting to see some pretty good rips up of those tires there.
Now we are going to bring Seth Pegg in. I want to have a quick chat with Seth. Seth, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing lovely, mate. How are you?
You're like, where am I? I've just transported to somewhere and I don't know who I'm talking to. Hold on, there's an Englishman. I must be up in the booth. Yes, Seth.
Yeah.
You are here with me. How's everything going? You got a few fans in YouTube chat cheering you on this evening. Not an ideal first part.
Look, I came out of the first stint with, I think, 80% wear on my front right tire. So I was clearly doing something wrong. So I thought I'd take it a bit slower, just get my tire wear down. And obviously we had an incident which has set us back a little bit. But we're fine. No substantial damage, just a little bit of wheel damage that's being fixed currently. So.
Okay. Akira is the Seth Pegg fan. In YouTube currently going Seth, and then big smiley faces. What's the plan for you, Seth? What are we hoping for now? Because we've had a bit of a rough start. We've had to get damage repaired. We're sitting nearly enough plumb last. What's the situation with you? What are you hoping for?
Look, a part of the plan is one or two more yellow flags would greatly help out the situation. But at the same time, I'm just happy to pace here, get a few points, and if I can keep out of any danger, I will get, I'll get a few places because, wrecks happen. It's part of racing. If I can keep myself clean, that's just 3 points.
It is. I agree. That's a bargain. You're on the same lap. Caution flag. How far are you hoping to get? What do you think the realms of possibility are for you?
Look, top 20 is where I'm shooting for at the least. I'd like to see myself in the top 15, but with these, like the first two races of this season, anything could happen. I could see myself in the top 10 with a good amount of luck. So we'll see where we shoot up here. We'll see where we finalize, and hopefully we can get some good points.
Okay, bud. Well, I'm hopeful for you as well. Great confidence. Love to see it. Seth, you go get it, son. And maybe we'll have a chat with you a bit later on.
Catch you later.
Oh, but to be fair, Seth, our resident Aussie with Jordan Malcolm sounds enthusiastic, doesn't he? Upbeat, optimistic. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely sounded like he was pretty excited about how everything was going. So I guess we'll have to see how it all ends up playing out for him. But yeah, I mean, he's on the lead lap. Only said he only had a little bit of damage there. Obviously, that gives him and there's still tons of time to come back. I mean, it's only on 75 of 125, so there's a lot of time. And most likely, you're still going to have at least one more pit stop here. They had 4 sets of tires, plus the 1, so 5. You got lots of tires left, lots of time left, and lots of laps left.
Yeah, definitely there as well, Akira. Akira's supposed to be positive. I think Seth has hyped himself up a bit. Maybe he's drunk some Red Bull or, I don't know, Prime or Monster, whatever it is he's necking. But whatever he's doing is working for him, which I think is amazing. So go, Seth. Go get it, son. You're in the top 19 now. So fair play to you. And hopefully we'll see how Seth Pegg gets on throughout the remainder of what is literally 50 laps left. And once more, the lights are going to be off on the pace car. It's into the pits. They're coming down again. Once more getting into the Geico restart zone again. Once more is Dan Michael. Once more, we've got Rodney Runge in there. Rodney Roberts, Derek Runge, and Noel Jakowitz as well. Instant spread of 3 wide further back in the field here. And Spainhour was involved in that. Drop back out of it currently at the moment. Steph's moving here. He's just about to have, however, like literally the 81 car of Brian and McLaughlin sweep round the outside here. Andrew Arnquist lost a couple of positions in this. They are 3 wide now going into the banking, and that's not an ideal scenario. And in the middle, it's the 83. Who is that car in the middle who's just done that?
Yeah. That didn't go well. That's Joshua Kuhn, the 83 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ideal scenario.
No, not really. Looked like he just he tried to get up to the wall, didn't realize that. I believe, trying to see who the car behind him was there.
Greg,
didn't realize he was there.
No, that's not Greg Sherman. Down one of them. There is Andrew Almquist involved in all of this. There's a lot of people. Well, yeah, Almquist is definitely involved in that. He's going backwards currently. Keenan Kimber
got he got tagged in that one too. And
did Seth make it through? I'm not entirely sure if he did. It's looking like he did make it through. He's currently sitting in 15th place here. The caution 4.
I think that was Rod Sizemore as the car that Kuhn made contact with. I just realized Joshua Kuhn. I just realized there's 2 Kuhns here.
Yep.
I did not even notice the second one. I just saw Thomas Kuhn afterwards. So Josh Kuhn was the one that made contact. It looked like there, and I believe that was with the 56 of Rod Sizemore is the one that actually made contact with him.
Yeah, I think it was as well. I do love the fact that Seth, to avoid any form of getting remotely involved in this, look at this. This is what Seth saw going into this. Now, he sees the cars go, he locks up and says, nope, going on the grass. See you later.
Yeah, that's a hard out of the way. Very fast.
That is, I quit. That's like, nope, not happening. You're not putting me in that one. See you later. I do love that as well. Oh, Seth just going straight on the grass, called it a day, and they're done with it as well. Okay, maybe it's slightly more realistic. He does. Akira says, I love him with all my heart. However, I think he's dreaming with a top 10, right? Okay, well, he was, but at the end of the day, he was up there until he just went into the pits, mind you, because he just avoided all the traffic. And Braden there, quite the fangirl. I'm wondering if Akira might actually be more than a fangirl of Seth, unless Seth has hundreds of fans, and if he does that, fair play to him. And not, and then Seth lawn mowing services. Yeah, he did instantly bail out on that one. But to be fair to him, that's probably the right thing to do, wasn't it? Because if he ran into that, game over.
Oh, 100%. That if he gets tagged in that, I mean, I think he still has his quick fix based on him saying he's got a little bit of time that he's got to work on for his tires there. So I think he does still have that, but obviously he's going to be trying to avoid that as much as he can, avoid trying to use that as much as he can. But yeah, we'll kind of see. Also, Akira says, "Oh Lord, no," which I'm not really sure how that's supposed to go.
I'm guessing that's not a relationship. So there we go. Also, I just found out as well. Armand once again feeding me information. I do love it. It's like my little pit lane roving reporter insider here as well. It's a father and son duo, Josh and Thomas. With Josh is Josh is the son, and Thomas is the father. So, that's how that one works.
Good on them.
I know. Fair play to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. There we go. At the end of the day, fair play. I wonder if they're in the same house. You reckon?
Just beside, they have their cockpits just set up beside each other.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible.
I think the real question is, are they even in the same chat together?
I don't know.
Or are they just like, no, we're not dealing with it?
No, I don't really know on that one. Josh is in chat. Thomas, no. So I'm guessing father needs to concentrate a little bit more than son. So therefore, that's why father is not in a chat that I can see currently. I can't see Spainhour in a chat either, so I'm a little bit concerned. Where's my boy? I can't even have a chat with my man this week. Not even in a chat, Lydia. Where is he? Oh, slightly disappointed. But there we go. At the end of the day, can't even pull him in for a conversation. Not there. But there we go. Right, lights are out already. Well, that was a couple of minutes of me just waffling on, I think. And here you go. You can see the cars coming through. Cool. Wish me and TJ could do that. Well, why don't you? Get yourself a rig, Terry Senior. Come on. Right, here we go. Once more into the Geico restart zone. Once more, Dan Michael, Rodden Roberts, Derek Runge and Noel Jackowitz is going to lead us away. And once more, we are underway after caution number 4. Calls with Josh Kuhn and Rob Sizemore. Josh under it 3 wide, not an ideal scenario. We did say that, and one that you not really want to get involved with there as well. So let's see what can happen here once more and see how these cars got on as we're going into the last 43, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Math.
Math.
Who does math?
And who does math at 2 in the morning?
Exactly. Also, Akira is Seth's brother. Sorry, sister. He's her brother. So, yes, not a relationship.
Oh, sorry. I wondered who you were talking about then. I was like, huh? Who's brother? So
yes, Seth is Akira's brother.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, probably best not to go down. Anyway, moving on before I dig myself a hole that one I cannot get out of in the broadcast as well. So, yeah, stay away from that one. Right, Derek Runge just jumped down Michael with Rodney Roberts behind it. Oh, there we go. Anyway, moving on. Yes, Devon is in the top 5 legendary gamer. So there we go.
There you go. And then, I mean, yeah, speaking of this track, though, we had started to talk about the surface and how it deals with these cars.
That's what we were saying, yeah.
Yeah, before a whole bunch of other things happened. So with being concrete, it actually is a better overall track in numerous ways, except cost. Concrete is one of the most expensive ways to do it, which is why there are literally 4 tracks that have concrete in them at all. Nashville, Dover are the 2 that are just full concrete. Everything else has some concrete, but mostly, another thing like asphalt at Martinsville or dirt in Bristol. The unfortunate thing, or not necessarily the unfortunate thing, the downside being cost, the upside of concrete is so much. It lasts a lot longer. So anyone who, like, for the track and stuff like that, you don't need to worry about it falling apart. It doesn't deteriorate nearly as quickly, having 40 cars doing 400 plus miles on them. So the grip stays very consistent for a long period of time. It doesn't deal with heat and light much the same as like asphalt, obviously, because there's oils in asphalt. When they get hot, they actually release some of that oil, which makes the track a little slick. Concrete, you don't have that. It's not a problem. They're also one of the smoothest tracks is when it's concrete. They're very, very smooth, other than obviously out of turn 4, which is that big bump. But yeah, so they're very smooth for a long time, as it doesn't get damaged very easily. They don't chip, things like that. So it is better, but it's just they're so expensive that it actually, a lot of places just won't even bother with concrete as much. They try and do it on like the edges and things, but they'll avoid it as much as they can.
So you can't go and knock up a track in your back garden?
I mean, probably not. It would be
I'm just asking,
not the best, but yeah, it's yeah, wouldn't work out super great, but yeah, no, it. I mean, like I said, the concrete there, it's the better track surface, and drivers love them because of how smooth they are. But yeah, they're just, the price of them is a lot more compared to any other style of track.
Okay, one of the questions I want to ask them. If it's wonderful, and we can see here now, I just want to watch Runge make that move past Michael. He's just dropped down onto the inside. We're queuing up for getting ready. We're coming into the last 35 at the moment. Why haven't they sorted the bump out?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be. I'm assuming it's just because they would have to tear out the entire thing, and with how expensive concrete is.
Tear it out or just top it up?
Well, you wouldn't be able to just put it on top, right? Because unlike asphalt, you can't just like slap over a piece on top of it and kind of blend it in. With concrete, it has to be poured all at sort of once. So they would actually have to take out a good chunk to be able to do it, and then try and make it fit. But then again, yeah, so that would be the only thing I could really think of. Outside of that, yeah, it's hard to necessarily say for sure why they wouldn't fix that. But I'm assuming it's just the having to do it would be a lot of unnecessary work instead of just like, there's a bump, try and miss it.
Can't they just chop out a little rectangle around the bump and then fill it in?
I mean, they might be able to. I don't know if necessarily, like, they would have to get their same kind of mixture, and it might feel different at that point being new. So that might be their concern with it, because depending on how far the bump actually goes out, there'd obviously be the seams they have to adjust for. The concrete itself, because it's a different time frame that it was put in, wouldn't absorb heat and expand and contract the same, which could cause it to crack. And it would also depend if there's rebar in the concrete, which typically there will be in most concrete. That might cause other issues that they would have to also deal with that. So it'd be very interesting. I'm very something I'll have to look into.
Well, I've just got a message that said the bump adds character. Duh. I was like, rude. There as well. So maybe the bump is there for a reason. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, it's still there. As we can see, Josh not Rob Sizemore once more. Side by side, we know how this has turned out already. So hopefully they can keep this clean this time. Radal's coming up. Josh Sizemore was on his way down then and then thought better of it. How is Mr. Pegg getting on? Well, he is chasing down Mr. Almquist currently at the moment, who has got Mr. Spainauer in front of him at the moment. But it is Derek Runge, Dan Michael, Rodney Roberts and Noel Jackowitz with Cody Kern here sitting now in 5th place. Jackowitz, although was necessarily asking for long runs, maybe we haven't quite gone long enough that he was wanting. Because obviously we went on lap 76, didn't we, was the last caution. And then obviously lap 70. So maybe we're not quite into the comfortable zone, should we say, for the car?
Possibly, yeah. I could see it's more so it looks like he's just kind of not really pushing yet. I mean, most likely he's hoping to nurse these tires kind of towards the end of the race if they do stay green the entire time. And sort of kind of hoping that everyone else has pushed their tires to the point of they'll have to do one more pit. And he's kind of hoping at this point that he can kind of really milk them. I mean, 50 laps on a set of tires on this track is bold. We'll go with bold. That seems the better word.
50 laps on fuel is bold. I'm not going to lie. He pitted on lap 72. Apparently only lasts 40. There's no way he's making the end.
I don't know. We saw Jordan Malcolm pull off some crazy fuel things last year.
You physically see that with Malcolm, couldn't we, every time? And I can guarantee if we jumped in with Jackowitz here, there definitely is no cut-off of the clutch. No. Nothing. So he's definitely not doing that. Expensive to produce means it's also expensive to renovate. To SoundSync 5000. Is that say that?
I can see that being an issue. I could see that being a problem. Yeah, because I mean, again, pouring concrete, I think asphalt can range for like $3 to $10 per square foot. Concrete is just going to be almost. Actually, I'm curious.
Please don't go Google. Are you actually
I'm going to Google it. Always.
Well,
I Google everything.
Oh, God blimey, you certainly do as well. I'm not going to lie. He's a Googler, is our man. But then our man with the knowledge doesn't get his knowledge from anywhere. So he has to Google the knowledge and learns the knowledge and then comes out and gives us some great insights every single week, which is, what we aim for here on the JB Broadcasting YouTube channel. If you are here new for the first time, please subscribe, turn on the bells. Don't forget to give the video a big old thumbs up as well, because at the end of the day, everybody loves the video. So give it a big old thumbs up. If you want, drop a comment down below and we will respond as best as we can. Here as well as Anthony Radel and Joshua Kuhn are running near enough, practically side by side currently at the moment. Radel settles back in behind it. Dominic Bettini, who we've not seen much of, in that 14, running alongside Devon Collicott and Calvin Ross. I'm talking like this because Kenton is off Googling prices of concrete, if I'm not mistaken. So
and I have both.
You have? Okay, right, here we go. Go for it.
So a price of asphalt per square foot. Now, this is mostly focused on driveway, so it's not exactly like going to be the same kind of asphalt and same specs that you would find in a racetrack. But you're going to be sitting at about this is Canadian because this was in Canada. So $2, about $3 to $4 Canadian. So
what's that American? Man, why can't we just use the world currency?
Right, that'd be so much easier.
Yeah, world currency for everyone. Everybody uses, I don't know, given the euro, that's the pain in the butt. So, hold on, go on.
It is, you're looking at about $3 US per square foot. So that's just per square foot.
Okay.
Not really, very minimal at that point. For concrete, it can be upwards of $50 to $150, and this is American. This one actually wasn't American in US dollars per square meter. That's a lot more expensive. A lot more. So yes, I'm gonna go with to renovate would be very, very expensive.
All right, we're not talking. I'm not asking them to cut the track out, right? We are asking for like a meter squared, give or take, over a bump. I'm guessing that's probably roughly the average size. I would have thought. Might be a little bit better, but it doesn't really seem to last longer. But we're not asking them to produce a miracle here. The track must be making dollars from somewhere. It's owned by a company that runs 7, what do they run? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 other tracks. It's the 10th one in the list. Come on, they can surely stump up their cash and lay something on it,
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Definitely. You're giving too much credit.
My thinking on it is I don't think they can just straight up cut up like one chunk just because of how concrete has to be usually laid with rebar. So you'd have to replace the rebar, but you can't just have, that little square of rebar. You'd have to have it longer. So you'd have to cut up an entire sheet that would have to replace it. And then like even just repaving, the Daytona track, which is asphalt, like that's just repaving, and yes, it was the entire thing. I think it was like a few $1 million just in repaving the track.
Yeah, but didn't they just go over the top?
With asphalt, probably not. I think they actually have to rip up chunks of it. Like they have to rip it up because they have to lay down a new foundation, because I think they were trying to even out a little bit of the what's it called, the banking as well. So I'm sure there's a way, but I think it's just it's not worth the cost, because it would be, yes, they're making profit and stuff, but that's just it's not like it necessarily makes the racing better, or it won't necessarily give them money to completely fix that, and everything's bottom line. It's how everything is now. Like them fixing it isn't going to suddenly increase how much money they'd get out of a race. So
no, but it also probably ain't but it ain't going to kill a driver in the process. If they hit the bump and go in the wall, and then who knows what can happen after that. But we got Runge and Michael running side by side. We have broken the last 18 as well. I am proud of us. We're only 4 cautions deep, so much love to all of you. Thank you so much for this one. Jay Merlin, I never get that right. I'm never going to ever
We
get
need to
that
ask
right.
him at this point.
Yeah, again. Did we go through this last week? And there was enough stress of what we were getting wrong there as well. I'm sure it's J Merlin. I don't know. Can't remember. I'm sure it's Jaymurh. It was necessarily sounded out to me in the phonics alphabet. Enquires here is chasing down onto the back of Keenan Kimber with Yogi Shishela in front of that. We've got Hunter Carlson who's trying to make a move as well. He's mixing it up in the battle for 8th, 7th, well, I would say 6th, but Roberts has just gone into the pit. So Rodney Roberts is the first major off the front to go and pit here. I'm guessing with 16 to go, though, it's not an ideal scenario, but if they keep running green, somebody might have to pit for fuel, I would have thought at this point. As well here, Kenton, because at the end of the day, we were told 40. They're already laps 72, 82, 92, 112. So, they're not too far off where they're going to be ended up running out of fuel. And SoundSync says $3 Canadian is $2.27 US, apparently. Don't stress.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and then Jess is, I do love Jess, bless her, she's so nice. Don't stress about it. We don't mind. Everyone butchers it. J Marlin. Can't we just say J Marlin, right? It's a Marlin without the R, I suppose, and J at the beginning. So J Merlin. Did we say that last week? Who knows?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, good blimey. Jamelin. That would do. There we go. I'll just call him Jay. It might be so much easier. There as well. And unfortunately for Jay, he's just got he's gone into the pits and he's 16th now. Currently at the moment, you can see Bettini, Jakowitz, Jamalin, and Kuhn has also gone through. Where Bettini, Jamalin, Jakowitz, and Collicott are in the pits. So I think if they've had to pit, everybody else has got to be looking at coming in very, very shortly. I'm just waiting to see when the leader comes in. So there you go. Stress on the J. Jamelin?
Or Jamelin?
I'm just going to call
This
him
is going to be
Andrew.
our goal for the end of the season, is to have at some point nailed this name.
It's just never going to happen. I think you're overestimating our ability to get it right. Because I'm not going to lie, I had some very interesting names in the series I covered the other day, and they were all Eastern Europeans.
Yes.
So mixing it up with Poles and Russian names and Ukraine names and lots of other names all in the process. It was quite a complicated factor for me when you're talking about Vyacheslav Dobrodrenko or Dobrovsky or Podopenko, and it was all just getting a little. It's at that moment where I realise that my teeth really don't do what my brain does. Wants to say. We've had information now, obviously, from our pit lane reporter. The fuel pits are incoming. So this is going to be fuel pits for a lot of people, I think, here. Mr. Pegg, however, has gone 6 or 7 laps. I think it's about 6 or 7 laps later than everyone else. So he's still managing to stay out and has breached the top 10. So go on, Mr. Pegg. He's up into 9th place at the moment. I've got a funny feeling he is, I think it's 6 laps. So unless he's done some magical fuel saving here, he could be in trouble. But let's jump into the cockpit and see if he actually is. Obviously with Jordan Malcolm, we saw him literally like full clutching in. And it would start somewhere about now.
Ooh, he is too. And dropping gear. All the way down to 3rd. So yeah, he's really trying to milk that fuel as best he can.
Well, there we go. Can Pegg get to the end? 9 to go. Everybody else is coming in. He was 6 laps, 7 laps later, so he only needs to get really probably 2 laps out of it. Can he get it? That's going to be the interesting thing. And if he does, he will finish up in 9th place, maybe further there as well. Anthony Raider once again with Andrew Almquist. These guys have been into the pits. The only ones that have not pitted so far is Jordan Malcolm and Dan Michael. I'm expecting that Michael's got to be looking at coming in very, very shortly, unless he was been pulling a Jordan Malcolm. We'll check what he's up to going round into turn 4. And is he going to be clutching in as well? Yes.
Interesting. So he's going to really try and hope to not run out of fuel here coming into the last back sort of part of this race. He's got a pretty solid lead at least. So that's a bonus of having over, but he's going to be losing time slowly the entirety of the rest of this as he's going to be clutching in. So it kind of depends on what Kuhn is looking to do to try and make his way through as well. Although he should have a little bit more fuel because he also had gone in
6 laps before. 6 laps
Yeah.
after, didn't he? Oh, they don't want to be doing that. Okay, Kuhn is not clutching. Clearly. But however, he is struggling on tyres there as well, as he's just let the cars go in front of him currently at the moment there. So, yeah. Kuhn's struggling. Fuel saving, no doubt. I don't need to look at Jordan Malcolm's. I can probably already tell you he is. Unless he's doing something untowards and not doing it there, Kenton. But you got to look at it realistically. He probably is.
more than likely if it's Jordan Malcolm. Although no, apparently not. He is sticking in 4th gear though, which is interesting, and not getting up to 5th gear. So he's not putting as much pressure on the car itself, and he's just kind of letting it go. But he might also have been doing so for the last while and not been pushing nearly as much.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Let's see how this one pans out. Jakowitz is in the mixture with Peg here. I'll tell you what, I can see Seth now just sitting in that car going, please stay away from me. Please stay away from me. Please stay away from me. As he's out there moving up through the order, and has done a stellar job of breaking the top. Well, he's outside of the top 10 now, but he's still in the top 15.
Yeah, I mean, he still has a shot, but they're kind of pulling away from him, like I said. But he is trying to kind of force this one to make it to the end, and kind of going to hope things kind of fall in his favor. But considering where he was when we last spoke with him, pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing pretty good.
Just about to breach the free-to-go platform here. Michael on that apron area. He's going to be hoping he can get to the end there. Either that or he's going to be chugging very much.
Yeah, I mean, Kuhn's coming in on him fairly quickly. He's already, last time we looked, it was about 6.5 seconds there, and now he's down to half a second, a little under, 2/10.
See him in the rearview mirror.
So yeah, it's definitely closed up a lot, and unless he's got enough that he can really start to push now with his last 2 laps to go, he's as Kuhn does make the pass on the inside there. So very curious how this plays out, because I think Kuhn was also clutching in pretty good. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a close ended.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's going to be close on the fact that Michael is running out of fuel. There is somebody on the inside there as well. The last thing that these guys need would be a caution right about now. Here we go. Final lap of the race. Is it going to be Josh Kuhn's race? Well, we're going to find out in about the next 25 seconds. He does look like he's in a lot better position. Is Michael going to hang on to second? He's got Keenan Kimber closing up behind him. Josh Kuhn here is going to go across the line. I think he is going to take this victory. Kuhn is going to come over the line. He's going to take that victory now. He is in first place there as well. Did Michael manage to hang on? Here comes the closing Keenan Kimber. And he is gone and got second place. Kimber did get third there, but I'd be interested to know how much fuel Michael has actually got left in that one. And then Kimber coming across the line in third there as well, with TJ over in 21st place. Jordan Malcolm is another one. He is all going to be done and dusted and finished in 11th. Mr. Pegg in 12th.
Do that donut. You earned it after that one.
Yep, definitely
and
did
then
that.
just stop in the middle of the track.
Definitely, Mr. Peg there earned that one, but it is Josh Kuhn who is your winner. Not quite sure what's going on behind the fence. Not sure. But there he is. So there we go. 7th, good race 19.
Good race to the 19, I'm guessing.
7th?
Finishing 7th?
That's Devon Collicott. That's 91, legendary gamer. So there we go. Right, we've got some interviews lined up. We have got the top 3 here as well. Let's start with the 3rd place gentleman, Mr. Keenan Kimber. Keenan, good evening to you. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Well, you should 3rd place. That's not bad, right?
Not at all. I'm super happy about that. Didn't think I'd be anywhere near the top 5 at the end of it here.
What gave you that thought then? Was it the nature of the track? Was it the situation within the racing? Why would you come in and think, I might struggle here?
It's just not a track that I'm very familiar with. Not a track that I had a lot of practice on. Wasn't very comfortable going into it. So just miracles happen.
Yeah, they certainly do. You got caught up in an incident as well for the second caution with Seth Pegg there as well. Any particular views on that situation?
It was completely my fault. I apologized in the race. I just didn't anticipate him checking up as much as he did. Early on, I was just trying to learn as much as I could, and I drove it in too deep. It was completely my fault.
Okay, bud. Going forward now, we've obviously got a week off, the 4th of July and all that. So what's the plans for you? Are you going to be looking at the next one thinking, I could do with the practice, or are you going to be looking at the next one thinking, actually, do you know what? I've got this track nailed now because we are going to Road America.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of practice is going to be done. I'm going to need it.
NASCAR's on road circuits. Love it or hate it.
Oh, it's great to watch. Struggle to drive.
Okay, that sounds like a very on the fence comment. You know what I mean?
It's all right.
But dude, thanks so much for joining us. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I just want to thank my friends for helping me throughout this race. I was struggling at first, but we all worked through it. Just want to thank them most of all.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us there, bud. And we'll catch up with you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Right. And next is the man who come over in 2nd place, Mr. Dan Michael, who I've got to be honest, must have been running on fumes to get that car to the end. I probably can guarantee. How much did you have left, Dan, in all the end of that one?
I ran out turn 4. I had 0 fuel.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a struggle. I knew going in, I had a feeling it was going to be a fuel thing. I wasn't sure if we'd go green all the way, but I know that we were close. And honestly, I wasn't trying to save until I got the lead there, and then I saw the 48, I believe, pit, and it caused a big shift in how I had to run the race. So I just got lucky. I got second. Honestly, I was gonna run out of fuel.
Yeah, well, you did an absolutely stellar job there as well, mate. You know, week off. What's the plans for you for this week? You just going to sit and chill?
No, I got some parties I gotta go to, and then do my practice for next week. And
Right, there ain't a race
just...
next week, mate, so don't do practice for that.
Oh, my bad.
4th of July, 2 weeks off. You got back on Road America on the 11th, mate.
All right. That's good. All right, well, there you go. More time to practice.
Practice. I can think of so many better things there as well. I like the idea of the parties, to be honest, but, you know, hey, all to their own. Going forward, though, Dan, you know, aspirations, what do we think? Yeah, you know, we've gone 3 now. This was a lot better run than the first 2. You know, I think we can all safely say that as well. Happy with how it went tonight, do you think? Or do you think you could have possibly got that win?
I think I could have gotten that win. I know I jumbled the strategy by not saving fuel from the get-go. And unfortunately, when I did start saving fuel, I didn't save just enough to stick with Josh. If I could have stayed with him, I might have been able to win. He ran out on the front stretch, but Yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season. These first 3 races have been really good for me, even though my finish in the first race wasn't as good. But the point stays have just been consistent. I've been up front. I've been trying to pull as many points as I can, and it's doing good, keeping it clean.
Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us in the booth. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Uh, just shouting out everyone here in the chat. I know Akira was rooting for me, couldn't win.
Yeah.
And you guys for broadcasting this. This was a great race, and I know that we've been putting up some miserable runs, but you know what? Today was great, and I think we can continue to do better.
Yep, definitely. Turning point this week, Dan. That's what I'm going to say. Turning point. But as always, mate, you take care, and we'll catch you soon, no doubt.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and next up in the booth is Josh, who also must have been pushing and trying to save fuel as well, as we've just heard that he did run out of fuel on the front stretch. Was you worried, Josh, at all about getting to the end?
Oh, yeah. I got super lucky to win that one. I got wrapped up in a wreck probably like 10 or 15 laps before that that last lap. So I got some fuel, and I was able to finish just by the nick of a hair.
Okay, and while we're talking about that wreck, mate, opinions? What do we think?
I can't even remember what happened, man.
Well,
I don't know what happened.
Well, you went up to the high side, went
in,
and then poor old Rob Sizemore kind of couldn't really go anywhere, and then you wrapped around the front of his car.
Yeah, my bad, Rod. My bad. Yeah, I think I'll chalk that up to a racing incident.
Ooh, Josh, that's very diplomatic of you, sir.
Yeah.
Don't watch the broadcast back. That was a completely different opinion to the one I had. At the end of the day, mistakes happen. You were coming up. He was coming off the corner. Ayo, got together. But going forward, Josh, what's your aspirations for the season there, bud? Because obviously, running with your dad in the field, that's got to be a big plus, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just, trying to avoid the scrapyard right now. I haven't finished a race, I don't think, yet this season. So we're good. We went from the scrapyard to P1, so I'll take it.
Well, I would definitely take that as well, Josh. And going forward, obviously, we're going to Road America in 2 weeks' time there, bud. What do you think of Road America? What do you think of NASCARs on road tracks in general?
I love it. Feel good about it. I can't wait for the race.
I don't. I'll be honest. I'm not a lover of NASCARs on road circuits. But, Josh, thank you so much for joining us and coming in for a chat there, bud. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Thomas Kuhn. Good luck. Hopefully he can get a P10 one of these times.
Hopefully he will as well. Unfortunately, he was down in 23rd this time around, but maybe next time. Right. You never know there. But Josh, thanks so much, and we'll look forward to having a chat with you as the season goes on.
All right, goodbye, guys.
Take care. Well, there we go, Kenton. What do we think of that one? Joshua Kuhn in front, Dan Michael in second, Kimber third. Then we've got Almquist, Sherman, Jakowitz, Collicott, Kern, Rudge, Roberts, Malcolm, Pegg inside the top 15. Great job. He was trying to hope for 20. Bettini, Radel, Ross, Jamalin, Andrew. Then we got McLaughlin, Carson, Chichella, Clennon, Spainhour down in 21st. Not been TJ's favourite track. Sizemore, Thomas Kuhn, Kuba, and Jones. What do you think of that one? That was a lot cleaner.
It was definitely a lot cleaner. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch, and some kind of tense to the moment till the end kind of finishes with people running out of fuel right as they were getting close. So it kind of added a little more drama without it having to be all yellow flags. So that was a lot of fun. It's definitely a testament to what we have seen in this league over the year or season that we've been dealing with them and helping out and broadcasting. So it's I'm glad it went fairly clean today.
Yeah, I am as well. I've got to be honest. I was worried, but it did go well, and that's the main thing here as well. So that brings us to the end of what has been another interesting night here within the BSC for their round 3 of the Hot Chicken 125 from Nashville, presented by JPB Broadcasting, sponsored by the Killer Brownie Company. Don't forget to go and check them out. killerbrownie.com. See if you've got one in your area and get some amazing, wonderful brownies for you all over there. Unfortunately for me and Kenton, we're not so lucky.
Nope. Don't get myself any tasty brownies.
No, definitely not. But thank you so much to everybody that's joined us in chat there as well. Lydia, of course, Terry Senior, Braden, SoundSync, much love. And of course, Akira, who's been Seth Pegg's biggest fan, purely because of the family connection, the fact that she is a sister. So much love to her for jumping in as well. And everybody else has come in along the lines and jumping in and out. But much love from everyone up here in the booth, from myself and Kenton Sportak. Take care. Have a great night. Nope. Hold on. I got that wrong. Take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.